Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome back to my Saturday Hodgepodge, my weekly wrap-up of reading, booktube, bookish things, anything else I happen to want to talk about. This week I wanted to do a tag as a part of my Saturday Hodgepodge because I'm kind of hoping that for at least a while this will be my last tag. I really love doing tags, but I'm a little burnt out on tags right now. To be honest with you, I was a little burnt out on tags a little while ago, and then some people just came up with some great tags, and they tagged me in them, and I wanted to do those tags. So it kind of rejuvenated my my love for doing tags, but I think at this point I've done more than 150 tags. I've been doing a tag for Tag Tuesday, at the very least one tag for Tag Tuesday, for well over a year, and I'm just going to take a break from doing that and try to do something a little different from that on my Tuesday, for my Tuesday videos. So I thought I would do the last tag I'm going to do for a while here today, and that tag was created by my good friend Alan over at Big Hard Books and Classics, and that is the Superstition tag. And so what Alan did is he just listed, I think, about 10 superstitions, and then you're supposed to kind of talk about that superstition and then pick a book that might be related to that superstition. I'm not sure how well my books are related to that superstition, but these superstitions, but I wanted to do the tag. Alan tagged a whole bunch of people. I'm going to leave a link to his tag down below so you can see who he tagged. I think he tagged 18 people. So since he tagged 18 people, I'm not going to tag anybody. I'm just going to encourage you to look at Alan's list of people who were tagged to do this, and then obviously if you want to do the tag, you can do the tag even if you haven't been tagged. I saw something recently, getting off topic already. I saw something recently about on Twitter, which, you know, I believe, and it makes me, you know, I worry about, and I feel kind of bad about it, that some people feel like that kind of tags and buddy reads and collaborations create cliques in BookTube, and I don't know any way around the idea that friendships are going to form between people on BookTube, and you will just naturally kind of gravitate towards doing things with your friends more than others. But, you know, let me just, and Sean the Book Maniac tried to do this a long time ago, let me just say that you are welcome to do any tag that you see. You don't actually have to be tagged. You can just do the tag, and oftentimes the creators of tags will search for the name of their tag, and they'll find your channel that way, and then you can have that interaction with that person. So all that preparatory to me doing what I think will be my last tag for a while, which is the superstition tag. So superstition number 1 is fear of thunder. I am not afraid of thunder. I have a healthy respect for lightning if I'm outside, but you know, thunderstorms are not one of those things I'm afraid of. If there were, I probably wouldn't be able to live here on the Texas Gulf Coast with hurricanes and things like that. Have a few hurricane experiences, none of them life-threatening, but they kind of have inured me to the idea of fear of thunder. So the book I chose for thunder is Julian Barnes's History of the World in 10.5 Chapters. And the reason I chose this, and again, I'm not sure my choices are particularly good. The reason I chose this is because the opening chapter is essentially about the Great Flood and Noah's Ark and an animal sneaking onto the Ark who they hadn't intended to bring with them. And so thunder, rain, flood, Noah, History of the World in 10.5 Chapters. So that was my first answer. Prompt 2 is walk under ladders. This is not a superstition I have. Haven't, you know, it's not like I've worked, you know, in construction or anything, but I've been up on ladders, been around ladders, worked from ladders. And yeah, you know, it's a good idea not to walk under a ladder, not because, you know, it's bad luck, but somebody might drop something on your head. I don't really have that superstition. I'm pretty sure I've walked under a ladder or two in my life, and nothing too bad has happened. But so I tried to think of a book with a ladder, and I'm pretty sure there's a ladder in Haruki Murakami's The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, where our main character goes down essentially the bottom of a well, and I believe at various times there is a ladder, there isn't a ladder. This is the only Haruki Murakami I've read, and it kind of left me, you know, impressed with the imagination, the creativity, and not always impressed with the ability of the author to bring things to anything approximating a conclusion that makes sense. Prompt number 3, no hats on the bed. I'd never heard of the superstition about not putting a hat on a bed. I'm pretty sure I put a hat on a bed before, particularly hanging a hat from a bedpost. I'm pretty sure that's happened. Packed a few hats and probably usually put my suitcase on the bed when I pack, so I'm pretty sure I've had hats on the bed. But when I thought of hats, I thought of Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove, which is about a group of cowboys driving a herd of cattle from Texas, from the Texas-Mexico border up to Montana to start a ranch up there. There are a lot of hats in this book, and so that's why I chose that one. Prompt number 4, can't read. Prompt number 4, never light 3 on the same match. So I have a feeling this has to do with cigarettes. You're supposed to light 3 cigarettes off the same match. By the way, if you could do that, depending on the size of the match, that would be really important, or really impressive. I have heard this superstition before. I have to be honest with you, it's not one I pay attention to, or I've paid attention to. I don't smoke, so if I could light 3 candles, on a birthday cake, or 3 candles and a candelabra off of one match, I'd be pretty happy to do that. So I'm not really worried about that. But when I do think of 3 on a match superstition, I think of smoking. When I think of smoking, I think of tobacco. And when I think of tobacco, I think of John Barth's kind of farcical novel, The Sotweed Factor, which is about an Englishman who comes to colonial Maryland to write an epic poem about Maryland, and he ends up getting involved in the tobacco business, and all kinds of misadventure and ridiculousness ensues. It's a funny book. I think in today's world, a lot of it would be viewed a lot differently than it was when it was published, but it's a book that I really liked when I read it, and it does have to do with tobacco and tobacco lighting. Anyway, so that's why I chose that book. Prompt 5, black cats crossing your path. No fear of black cats. Black cats, believe it or not, I used to be a cat owner. I come from a cat family more than a dog family. My mom loves cats. We did always have a dog, but we always had lots of cats, and the cats I liked best were black cats, so not the least afraid of a black cat crossing my path. I had several black cats during my childhood. But the book I chose for Black Cat Crossing Your Path is Black Leopard, Red Wolf, Black Leopard, obviously a black cat. This is a book by Marlon James, which I think is what is the word for that? A Marmite book. People either love it or hate it. I don't think there's a lot of stuff in the middle. I really liked the language in the book. I really liked the rhythm and the cadence of the sentences. I thought there were some beautiful writing and some incredibly painful, achingly awful things happening involving love and betrayal and the death of children. I know a lot of people found it to be far too violent, but I didn't. I really liked the book. So that's the book I chose for Black Cat Crossing the Path. Prompt number 7, do you own a rabbit's foot or a lucky charm? I don't really. Now, I do gamble in the past before COVID. My wife and I did occasionally take day trips to casinos nearby in Louisiana just for fun and kind of gambled as something to do. And I do enjoy that. And I did for a while have like a lucky like coin that somebody had given me. Like I went on a this is the most senior citizen thing I think I've ever done. I went on kind of like a charter bus trip to casinos in Louisiana, and they gave us this like gift bag, and it had all these like fake little doubloons and coins in there. Anyway, so I had that in my pocket one time on that trip, and I won what was for me a significant amount of money. So for a while, whenever I went gambling, I made sure I had that little fake coin in my pocket. That's about as close as I come. I was trying to think of a book with a lucky charm, and probably because luck's in the name, I chose Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club. This is not a book this is a book I read some time ago, and I don't have a lot of really strong memories of the book, but I do remember that several of the characters have items that are kind of like talismans for them, or personally important, like a pendant that you would wear around your neck. I believe there's a vase of Oz, if you're not from East Texas. I believe there's a vase, and one more of the characters has something like that. So that's what I thought about when I thought about, a rabbit's foot or a lucky charm kind of thing. It's probably not exactly, again, accurate to the book, but that's what I thought of. Prompt 8, no knives over the stove. Literally, I've never heard of no knives over the stove as a superstition. It sounds like a bad idea. I don't think I've ever had, like, suspended knives over a stove. Probably had a knife in my hand while working at the stove before. I don't know if that counts. Again, it's not what I'm going to worry about, but knives, stoves, for some reason, my mind went to Moby Dick and these scenes where Melville describes how they process whales on board ships, which involves big, huge knives. Well, really, they're like on sticks, like really long, huge knives on poles. And then the process of cooking down the fat to render the oil. That's what I thought about with knives over the stove. And, they did have kind of bad luck on board the Pequod there. Not that it was necessarily the knives over the stove thing. Prop number, 9. Find a penny, pick it up. All day you'll have good luck. I always pick up pennies when I see them on the ground. I don't think it has to do with luck so much as, hey, look, money. When I thought about pennies, I thought about Lincoln. When I think about Lincoln, I thought about George Saunders' novel Lincoln the Bardo, which I really liked. I can see one of my things with Saunders is no matter what he writes, there's always a moment where I think, wow, this guy is really a little bit too clever and maybe thinks he's too clever. But I really liked Lincoln the Bardo. I thought it was really effective, really sad, really well done novel. Prop number 9 is loose shoelaces. Loose shoelaces, is that a superstition? Isn't it just a bad idea to have loose shoelaces because you'll trip and fall down? Anyway, this is the most ridiculous one, and that is Jennifer Egan, her novel Manhattan Beach. Her main character is a woman who becomes a deep-sea salvage diver for the military, and she has to put on those really heavy boots that kind of sink you down to the bottom. I don't think there's shoelaces, even though there was a lot of lacing up, I think, in this. This is a novel which parts of it I thought were very good, and then there's just a whole storyline which just strikes me as ridiculous and kind of, for me, ruined the novel. But that's what I thought of. Again, you can see the inner workings of of my deteriorating mind, I think. And then prompt number 10 is, do you have any particular superstitions? I'm a knocker on wood. I believe in jinxes. If my sports team is winning, I don't talk about them winning. If a pitcher in baseball is throwing a no-hitter, I don't talk about the no-hitter. Sometimes I think that just the fact that I'm watching sports team I want to win can create a jinx. So yeah, I believe in stuff like that. The closest I came to that kind of superstition was from Olga Tokarczuk's Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. Our main character here certainly believes in a lot of things which might come under the heading of superstition. She believes that animals are capable of the same kind of emotions and feelings as humans. She also believes in astrology and star charts and things like that, so that's what I chose. Anyway, there's the superstition tag. I'll leave a link to Alan's down below and his long list of 18 people that he tagged to do it. Please do the tag if you were tagged, and if you weren't tagged, you can still, do the tag anyway. So the next thing I want to talk about are my weekly readings, and this again has been, last month I said it was the month of buddy reads, and I was wrong. This is actually the month of buddy reads. So to start off with, Jack the Rambling Raconteur and I are still doing our buddy read of John Dos Passos USA trilogy. We're up to the second book in that trilogy. We'll be having our second check-in on Sunday. And that book is 1919. He and I both agree that 1919 starts off incredibly badly. As much as I enjoyed, I think, almost every page of the 42nd Parallel, which is the first book in there, this first section of 1919 was really, really bad. And it's in part because it involves an unpleasant character. Now, next Thursday, I'm going to do a video in which I talk about how these books are structured and how they work, and as an example of modernist literature, that's going to be my video for Thursday of next week. But the book is episodic, let's say, in terms of its plot and following lots of characters, and this first character really is not the one you want to spend a lot of time with, and so that made the start of 1919 kind of rough. Because the book's titled 1919, we do actually get to World War I. And at least its impact on the characters that Dos Passos has created in the book. But that's been going well. Really enjoy reading those books with Jack. That's been great. I'm also buddy reading Detransition Baby with Mark Nash and Cena from Beating Around the Books, and Roz from Scallydambling About the Books joined us kind of after week 1, and we've already broken the rule and exchanged some ideas about the book before the next check-in, which again is Sunday. My check-in is actually Saturday, since they're all located in European countries. I'm going to check in Saturday night, and that means it'll be there ready for them on Sunday. And that has been a really fun buddy reading experience. And I will say I'm enjoying reading the book. I'm enjoying thinking about the book. One of the things about buddy reads that I think to me is valuable and fun is it gives us a chance to, or gives you a chance to kind of parse a book and the language and its structure and its characters and why the author does this or why the author does that. Sometimes that reveals to me prejudices that I may have going into a book about why authors make certain choices, and those get blown up by your buddy readers, which is a good thing because you learn and grow from that. But it's just kind of fun sometimes to be involved in a buddy read where people are kind of breaking down a book. That kind of thing I think works better when I'm buddy reading a work of fiction than a work of nonfiction, but still really good. And then those were my only 2 buddy reads, I think. Is that right? Yes, those were my only 2 buddy reads this month. But then I added a third one from last Saturday. You may remember, or from my, actually it's from my June TBR video. I added No Modernism Without Lesbians by Diana Souhami because I saw this on Hannah's channel, Hannah's Books channel, and I just thought this is the book for me. It's a book I want to read, and I said that, and Stephanie Cohen, who is a commenter here on BookTube, she was excited about the book and asked me if I wanted to buddy read. I said it depended on how soon I got it in. I ordered it from bookshop.org, and it came in within 2 or 3 days, and we decided to try to read 100 pages a week. That's about one section. Souhami covers the lives and contributions of modernism of essentially 4 women, and who were, in fact, lesbians during the modernist period of the 19-teens, 1920s, 1930s. And I read the first section. I have my first check-in with Stephanie tomorrow too, so I don't want to say too much about this. But I'm so happy to be doing a buddy read. Look forward to what Stephanie has to say and sharing our ideas. And I will say the first 100 pages of this did not disappoint me at all. They're exactly the kind of thing I was looking to read. The rest of my reads are all, well, no, that's not true. So in addition to that, I am reading Maurice by E.M. Forster. This, of all the books I'm reading, this is not a buddy read, this is just me reading it. Of all the books I'm reading, this is the one I'm struggling with the most, and I just now am on about page 79, and after 2 weeks, that's kind of slow. It's not a very long book. Just now got to the point where I think the beauty of what Forster is creating is starting to kind of dawn on me and kind of filter through some of the things I found a little difficult to get into with the book in the beginning, but I'm doing that. And then I'm also reading Despised and Rejected by Allatini. I talked about last week, which is a book written during World War I, which involves gay characters, a lesbian character, and a gay male character involved who have kind of a relationship with one another, but it also involves the events of World War I and pacifism. And I told you how interesting and fascinating I thought the book was, and it still is. And I'm still really enjoying reading that book. I saw that Katie at Books and Things had kind of talked about it in her video that came out this week or yesterday maybe, and how much she liked it. I would just echo her exact sentiments about that book. It is fascinating. And again, I'm not sure if I find it fascinating or interesting, if I'm loving reading it because of me thinking about all the historical things that surround it, or because of the story. Like I think I said last week, there are a few things in the story that do kind of irritate me. Primarily, the representation of a character who has a lisp just seems ridiculous. But beyond that, the book's just really interesting and fascinating, and I think it explains, I think my interest in that book explains why I've had a hard time getting into Maurice, because they're essentially set during the almost exact same period of time. They're both set in England in the exact same period of time, and there are similar themes to each. And since I'm enjoying the Allatini book so much, Despised and Rejected, I think because I'm enjoying that one so much, it's taken a little bit away from Maurice. But that is what I'm reading. I think that's everything I'm reading. Unusually for me, I'm reading 5 books at a time. I devote one day to reading each book, and then I have a couple of days to play with if I fall behind. That's been working out really well. I've been really enjoying my reading. I want to do some shout-outs today to some new or newish channels that I found recently and have started to follow. The newest one I just added yesterday. Like I do from time to time. I did a search for the BookTube newbie tag, and I found a channel of a young woman named Renee-katzebooks is the name of her channel, and I'll post a link to it down below. And I watched her on a camping trip do a review of a novel by Ursula K. Le Guin, whose name I just forgot. Anyway, she seems like a kind of delightful person with some really strong opinions. I watched her video, just an incredible video about her background in being raised in a fundamentalist Christian church and how anti-science that was, and just really just blew me away. So go check out her channel. Also, there is the History Fella channel. The gentleman who runs that channel is named Ben Davidson, and he focuses almost exclusively on history and reading. I know there's a lot of people on here who like those subjects. And so go check out his channel. He's a very thoughtful booktuber and reviewer and thinker of books, and an intellectual, I think, on the side, and a real historian. You know, well worth your time to go check him out. And then also Sandy from MsReads A Lot's channel. Sandy is just, I hate to always say this, I almost hate to say this about people because I feel like it puts an obligation on them, but Sandy's incredibly upbeat and cheerful, and just the right level of cheerful energy. Do you know, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you're an old grouchy ass curmudgeon like me, sometimes people can be a little too cheerful and it irritates, but that is not Sandy at all. She's just perfect. I really have been enjoying her channel and getting to hear her take on books and other things like that. So please go check out those channels. And the last thing I want to talk about is kind of revive the tradition I had a long time ago and restarted yesterday by talking about music. So let me just confess something to you right now. In the 1980s and in the 1990s, I was really into 70s and 80s progressive rock. You know, Rush was one of my favorite bands, but also in college I really got into the band Yes. And you probably don't get any squishier, weirdly progressive rock than Yes. And so I thought I would leave a link to some of my favorite Yes songs down below. Some that you may have heard if you were alive in the 80s, and some which are kind of almost historical artifacts of a specific time period, I think, right now, including one song, Gates of Delirium, which I believe is 22 minutes long, which, if you don't know, progressive rock kind of specialized in songs that lasted for the whole side of an album. Anyway, there you go. There's my Saturday Hodgepodge for this week. I will leave links to all the channels I mentioned down below, as well as the links to the Yes song videos, which you're all going to want to watch. Having heard this great introduction from me. Anyway, I look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.